The transit station drifted quietly between stars, a wide ring of metal and glass filled with travelers from dozens of worlds. Lights glowed softly above long walkways. Ships came and went through massive gates, each arrival bringing new sounds, smells, and languages. For many, the station was just a stop. For others, it was a place of waiting and survival. Eli stood near the end of a long food line. His jacket was old, its edges worn thin from travel. A small bag rested at his feet, holding everything he owned. He had arrived on the station almost 2 days ago with very little money and even less food. He had planned to buy a meal quickly and leave, but delays, inspections, and a sudden crowd had changed that plan. His stomach growled loudly. The sound cut through the low noise of the station. A few nearby beings turned their heads. Eli felt his face warm but kept his eyes forward. Hunger was nothing new to him. He had learned long ago that reacting to it only made it worse. Behind him, a sharp laugh echoed. "Oh, did you hear that?" a clear voice said. "Is that your body breaking down already?" Eli slowly turned his head. The one laughing was an alien girl, tall and light-skinned with smooth silver-blue markings along her neck and arms. Her clothes were clean and fitted, showing she was no poor traveler. Her eyes were bright, full of confidence and amusement. A small group stood near her, watching with interest. "Humans are always like this," she continued, not hiding her smile. "A little hunger and they start making noise. How do you even survive space travel?" Some of the others laughed quietly. A few nodded. No one spoke in Eli's defense. Eli looked at her for a moment. His face was calm. Tired, yes, but calm. He gave a small shrug and turned back toward the food counter. The alien girl blinked, surprised by his lack of response. "That's it," she said. "No excuse, no anger." Eli spoke without looking at her. "I'm just waiting for food." That only made her laugh louder. "Waiting," she repeated. "You humans are so soft. My people would never let hunger control us like that." Eli said nothing. The line moved forward slowly. A display above the counter showed available meals. With every passing minute, more items vanished from the list. Some travelers complained. Others checked their credits again and again. The alien girl crossed her arms and watched Eli closely now. His posture was relaxed, but his eyes stayed sharp. He did not lean or sway. He did not complain. He simply waited. After a moment, the station's speakers crackled to life. "Attention all visitors," a calm, artificial voice announced. "Due to an unexpected supply delay, food distribution will be limited. Please remain orderly. Further instructions will follow." A wave of noise spread through the hall. "What does limited mean? I paid for a full meal. This is unacceptable." The line stopped moving. The display flickered. Half the remaining meals disappeared. The alien girl's smile faded. She stepped closer to Eli. "You heard that right? Limited. That means there might be nothing left for you." Eli nodded slightly. "I heard. You don't seem worried." "I am," he said, just quietly. She studied him again as if seeing him for the first time. "You should be. Humans need food often." "That's common knowledge." Eli finally turned fully toward her. His eyes were dark, steady. "Common knowledge is often wrong," he said. Before she could answer, a sudden flicker of light rolled across the ceiling. The station lights dimmed, then brightened again. A low hum passed through the floor. The speakers activated once more, this time with a sharper tone. "Emergency notice," the voice said. "All commercial food systems are temporarily offline. Please stand by." The food counter went dark. Silence fell over the hall, followed by panic. Shouts broke out. Some travelers rushed forward, demanding answers. Others stepped back, fear in their eyes. Several species depended on constant energy intake. Without food, weakness would come fast. The alien girl's breathing changed. She looked around quickly. "This is a joke," she said, but her voice lacked confidence. Eli picked up his bag and stepped away from the line. He moved calmly, scanning the area. "You're just walking away," she snapped. "Aren't you hungry?" Yes, he replied, but standing here won't help. She hesitated, then followed him without thinking. They moved toward a quieter section near the observation windows. Outside, stars drifted slowly, unaware of the fear inside the station. "Why are you so calm?" she asked. "Don't you understand what this means?" "I do," Eli said. "It means plans change," she frowned. "My name is Luma, you should know who you're talking to." Eli nodded. "Eli, that's it, just Eli, that's enough." Another announcement came through. All residents are advised to remain in their current zones. Security teams are investigating a possible systems failure. Luma's hand shook slightly. She tried to hide it. "My species can't go long without nutrients," she said quietly. "We weren't built for that." Eli looked at her. "How long?" "Half a cycle, maybe less." He nodded again, thinking. Around them, the station's mood changed. Fear crept in. Some sat down, already weak. Others argued with security drones. The laughter from earlier was gone. A sudden crash echoed from a distant corridor. Everyone froze. Moments later, security alarms began to wail. Red lights pulsed along the walls. "Warning," the speakers said. "Breach detected in the outer ring. All civilians take cover." Luma's eyes widened. "A breach? That's impossible." Eli was already moving, guiding her behind a thick support pillar. "Stay low," he said. She stared at him. "You know what to do. I've been in worse places." The floor vibrated faintly. Somewhere far away, metal screamed as something forced its way through. Security drones rushed past, weapons active. Some malfunctioned and fell silent. Luma's breath came fast now. "This station isn't prepared for this. And without food," she looked at Eli again. He was pale, clearly hungry, but his hands were steady. His focus had sharpened, not faded. "You shouldn't have laughed," she said suddenly, the words slipping out. He glanced at her. "Probably not." A deep roar echoed through the station, not mechanical but alive. The sound sent chills through everyone who heard it. Luma pressed herself against the pillar. "What is that?" Eli tightened his grip on his bag. "Something that shouldn't be here." The lights flickered again, and this time they stayed dim. In the darkness, surrounded by fear, hunger, and an unknown threat, Luma realized something unsettling. The human she had laughed at was not weakening. He was getting ready. And for the first time since she boarded the station, Luma felt truly stunned, not by hunger, but by the quiet strength standing beside her. The alarms did not stop. They echoed through the station in slow, heavy waves, shaking walls and nerves alike. Red lights washed over the corridors, turning every face pale and every shadow sharp. People huddled together, whispering or crying out in fear. No one laughed anymore. Eli and Luma stayed behind the wide support pillar as security drones rushed past. Some drones moved smoothly. Others sparked, their lights flickering before crashing to the floor. The station was losing control, piece by piece. Luma pressed a hand to her stomach. The earlier confidence in her posture was gone. Her breathing was shallow now. "This is bad," she said. "This is very bad." Eli did not answer right away. He was listening. The deep roar echoed again, closer this time. Metal groaned somewhere above them. "That thing," Luma continued, her voice tight. "If it's inside the station, security should have stopped it already." "They didn't," Eli said, "so we adjust." She looked at him sharply. "You keep saying things like that, adjust, move on. How can you be so calm?" He glanced at her. "I'm not calm, I'm focused." A group of travelers rushed past them, pushing and shouting. One small alien stumbled and fell. No one stopped to help. Eli stepped out without thinking. "Hey," Luma whispered urgently. "Don't go out there." But he was already kneeling beside the fallen alien. It was old, its skin dull and dry. Its breathing was weak. Eli lifted it carefully and moved it back behind the pillar. "Stay here," he told it gently. The alien looked at him with wide eyes and nodded. Luma stared. "Why did you do that?" "Because it needed help." "But you're hungry, weak, you could get hurt." Eli met her gaze. "Hunger doesn't erase choices." Before she could reply, the speakers crackled again. "Emergency update," the voice said. "All civilians are advised to conserve energy. Medical units are overwhelmed. Food systems remain offline." A low sound of despair spread through the crowd. Luma's legs felt unsteady. She leaned against the pillar, closing her eyes for a moment. "My body is already slowing," she admitted quietly. "I can feel it. My thoughts are heavy." Eli opened his bag and pulled out a small, crushed packet. He looked at it for a long second, then held it out to her. "What's that?" she asked. "Compressed ration," he said. "Not much." Her eyes widened. "You had food, very little. And you're giving it to me?" Her voice shook. "After how I treated you." "You need it more," he said simply. She hesitated, then shook her head. "No, I laughed at you. I don't deserve it." Eli placed the packet in her hand anyway. "This isn't about deserve." Her fingers closed around it. She swallowed hard, then slowly ate. Color returned slightly to her face. "Thank you," she said. He nodded. A sudden scream cut through the air. From the far corridor, a massive shape moved into view. It was tall, its body covered in dark plates. Its eyes glowed faintly. Each step bent the metal floor beneath it. People ran. The creature roared, a sound that vibrated through bone and wall alike. Security drones fired energy bolts. They struck its armor and scattered harmlessly. "It's not working," someone shouted. The creature swiped an arm. Two drones shattered against the wall. Luma felt fear freeze her chest. "That thing is killing them." Eli scanned the area quickly. His eyes landed on a fallen drone, its weapon still intact. "Stay here," he told Luma. "What?" She grabbed his arm. "No, you can't fight that." "I'm not fighting," he said. "I'm distracting." "That's worse." But he pulled free and ran. He moved low, fast, using overturned carts and pillars for cover. The creature noticed him almost instantly. It turned, roaring again, and charged. "Eli," Luma whispered, unable to look away. The creature slammed into a support beam where Eli had been seconds before. He rolled, grabbed the drone weapon, and fired at the creature's eyes. The blast did not kill it, but it staggered. People watched in stunned silence. A human, hungry and unarmed moments ago, was standing against something that had crushed trained security. Eli kept moving. He led the creature away from the crowd toward a sealed maintenance corridor. "Come on," he muttered under his breath. The creature followed, furious. Luma's heart pounded. She wanted to scream at him to stop, to run, but the words would not come. The corridor door slid shut behind Eli and the creature. Silence followed. Minutes passed. No sound came from the sealed corridor. Luma felt her knees weaken. She sank to the floor. "He's dead," someone whispered. "No," Luma said softly, though she did not know why. "He's not." Time dragged on. Hunger gnawed at everyone. Fear pressed down harder. Then the corridor doors dented inward, once, twice. They burst open. Eli stumbled out, bleeding from his arm, breathing hard. Behind him, the creature lay still, smoke rising from its body. The hall erupted in shocked gasps. Eli collapsed to one knee. Medical drones rushed forward. Luma ran to him, ignoring the dizziness threatening to pull her down. "You did it," she said, her voice breaking. "You actually did it." Eli managed a tired smile. "Told you, adjust." She laughed then, not in mockery but in disbelief. Around them, eyes followed the human with a new kind of respect. Fear remained, hunger remained, but something else had entered the station. Hope. And Luma understood now that the growling stomach she had laughed at was never a sign of weakness. It was a warning. The station did not celebrate for long. Eli's collapse had shocked everyone, but the silence that followed was heavier than any cheer. Medical drones surrounded him, scanning his body, sealing wounds, pumping stabilizing fluids into his veins. His hunger was now visible on the screens. His energy levels were dangerously low. Yet even in that state, his heart was strong, steady, refusing to slow. Luma stood close, her hands clenched together. She ignored the dizziness still sitting in her head. Her eyes never left Eli. "He should not be alive," a security officer muttered nearby. "No one should survive that." He didn't just survive, another replied. He won. The creature's body lay motionless, its armored plates cracked and burned. Technicians approached it carefully, scanning, whispering. The station had never recorded a life form like it before. A new announcement echoed through the hall. All civilians remain alert. The breach may not be isolated. Engineering teams report multiple system failures. Fear returned, sharper than before. Medical drones lifted Eli onto a floating stretcher. As they began to move him, Luma stepped forward. "Where are you taking him?" she asked. "To a medical bay," a drone replied in a flat tone. "I'm going with him. Only essential personnel." "He is essential," she said, louder than she meant to. The drone paused, then continued moving. Luma followed without waiting for permission. They moved through long corridors filled with damaged panels and flickering lights. Travelers sat against walls, weak from hunger or fear. Some watched Eli pass with wide eyes, others whispered, "That's the human. He fought it alone. Humans aren't supposed to be like that." Luma felt something twist in her chest. Shame, respect, confusion, all mixed together. Inside the medical bay, the air was cool and bright. Machines hummed softly. Eli was placed on a treatment platform. Drones worked quickly, sealing cuts, injecting nutrients. A tall alien doctor stepped closer, its skin pale green and eyes large. "He is severely malnourished," the doctor said. "But his body is compensating at an extreme level." "What does that mean?" Luma asked. "It means his species adapts to stress instead of shutting down," the doctor replied. "Pain, hunger, fear, they trigger response, not collapse." Luma swallowed. "So the hunger made him stronger." "In a way," the doctor said. "Yes." Eli stirred slightly. His eyes opened just a bit. "Luma," he murmured. She leaned in quickly. "I'm here." "You okay?" The question hit her hard. Even now, after everything, he was asking about her. "Yes," she said softly. "Thanks to you." He closed his eyes again. Before anything else could be said, the station lights went out. Complete darkness swallowed the medical bay. A second later, red emergency lights flickered on. The station shook violently. "What now?" Luma whispered. The alarms returned, louder than before. "Warning," the speakers said. "Multiple hostiles detected, security response failing." The doctor stepped back. That creature was not alone. Luma felt cold spread through her body. "How many?" she asked. "We don't know." Across the station, chaos erupted again. Weak security lines broke. Travelers screamed and ran. Doors sealed randomly as systems failed. In the darkness of a distant corridor, something moved. Then another. And another. Creatures smaller than the first but faster poured through maintenance shafts. They crawled along walls and ceilings, their claws scraping metal. Security teams fired, but energy levels were too low. Weapons failed mid-shot. Drones fell. In the medical bay, Eli's eyes snapped open. He sat up suddenly, pulling free from the stabilizers. "No," Luma said. "You can't move, you'll collapse." "I don't have time," Eli said, swinging his legs off the platform. "You'll die." He looked at her, serious. "If I stay here, more people will." The doctor stepped forward. "Human, your condition." "I know," Eli said. "I've been worse." Luma stood frozen, torn between fear and understanding. Eli grabbed a metal bar from a broken equipment rack and tested its weight. "You shouldn't have to do this," she said. He gave a faint smile. "Someone always does." A loud crash shook the bay doors. Deep scratches tore across the metal. "They're here," the doctor whispered. Eli moved toward the door, planting his feet. "Stay behind me," he said. The door buckled inward. One of the creatures forced its way through, hissing sharply. Its eyes locked onto the group. It lunged. Eli met it head-on. The impact knocked him back, but he did not fall. He swung the metal bar with everything he had. The blow crushed the creature's skull against the wall. Another followed, then another. Eli's movements were slower now. Each strike cost him more. Blood soaked his sleeve. His breathing grew heavy. Still, he did not stop. Luma grabbed a fallen medical tool and struck at a creature that slipped past him. She screamed as she did, fear and anger mixing together. She had never fought before. Now she had no choice. Together, they pushed the creatures back. The bay floor was littered with broken bodies. Silence returned, broken only by Eli's breathing. He leaned against the wall, sliding down slowly. "That's enough," Luma said, holding him up. "Please." Before he could answer, armed figures rushed into the bay. They were not security drones. They were alien soldiers, tall and heavily armored, bearing the crest of a powerful interstellar council. One stepped forward. "All humans are to be detained immediately," the soldier said. "By order of the council." Luma stared. "What? Why?" The soldier looked at Eli. "Your species represents an unpredictable threat." Eli laughed weakly. "So now you notice." Two soldiers moved toward him. Luma stepped in front of Eli without thinking. "No," she said. "You saw what happened. He saved lives. He saved this station." "Which is exactly the problem," the soldier replied. "Humans were classified as low risk. That assessment was incorrect." Eli placed a hand on Luma's shoulder. "It's okay." She turned on him, eyes burning. "No, it's not." Around them, other survivors had gathered, watching. Some nodded in agreement with Luma, others looked fearful. The soldier raised a hand. "Stand aside." "No," Luma said again, louder. For a moment the room held its breath. Then the station speakers activated one more time. "Attention," a new voice said. "Calm, human. This is Commander Hale of the Terran Fleet. We have arrived." The soldiers froze. Outside the station, massive ships slid into view, dark and silent, blocking the stars. The voice continued. "We are aware of the situation, and we are watching." Luma felt a shiver run through her. Eli closed his eyes, relief washing over his face. The soldier slowly lowered his weapon. The balance of power had just shifted, and the galaxy was beginning to understand the mistake it had made. The arrival of the human fleet changed everything. Outside the station, dark ships hovered in perfect formation. They did not fire. They did not move closer. They simply waited, silent and steady, like watchers who had already decided the outcome. Inside the medical bay, no one spoke for several seconds. The council soldiers slowly stepped back. Their weapons lowered, not out of respect but caution. They had not expected humans to arrive so quickly, or at all. Luma still stood in front of Eli, her arms spread slightly, her body tense. She did not realize she was shaking. A soldier finally broke the silence. "Commander Hale," he said toward the ceiling speakers, "this station is under council jurisdiction." The human voice answered calmly, "Not when our citizens are being threatened." Eli opened his eyes again. He tried to stand, but Luma pushed him gently back against the wall. "Don't," she whispered. "Just don't." He did not argue. The doctor watched the exchange carefully. "This station is unstable," it said. "Another conflict will cost lives." Commander Hale responded, "That is why we are not attacking, but we will not allow forced detainment." The council soldiers' jaw tightened. Humans were misclassified. That error must be corrected. "Yes," the commander replied, "and we will discuss that after the civilians are safe." A pause followed. Then the soldier nodded once. "Agreed, for now." The tension in the room eased slightly, but fear remained. Emergency crews moved through the station, sealing breaches, restoring limited power. Medical units worked without rest. Food was still offline, and hunger pressed harder with every hour. Luma sat beside Eli as the doctor resumed treatment. Nutrient fluids flowed into his body slowly. "You shouldn't have fought again," she said quietly. He looked at her. "You fought too," she swallowed. "I was scared." "So was I." That surprised her. "You didn't look scared." Eli gave a weak smile. "Looking and being are different things." She thought about that. Around them, whispers spread. Travelers spoke of humans in low voices now, not with laughter but with caution and awe. Stories grew fast. Some exaggerated. Some did not. The doctor returned with a data screen. "Your species profile is being reviewed," it told Eli. "By many governments." Eli sighed. "That's never good." "It is, Unprecedented, the doctor said. Your biology allows function under conditions that would disable most species. Pain tolerance, endurance, adaptive aggression. Luma listened closely. You mean hunger, she said. Yes, the doctor replied. For humans, hunger does not only weaken, it focuses. Luma looked at Eli again, remembering the sound of his stomach growling the way she had laughed. Shame burned in her chest. I thought you were weak, she said softly. He shrugged. A lot of people do. Outside the bay, raised voices echoed. A group of station officials argued with council representatives. Some demanded human assistance. Others feared it. Commander Hale's voice cut through again. We are deploying aid teams, human and mixed crews. Cooperation is recommended. For the first time, cheers broke out somewhere in the station. Eli tried to sit up again. This time, Luma did not stop him completely, just supported him. You're not cleared, the doctor warned. I know, Eli said. I just want to stand. He did slowly. His legs trembled but held. Luma stayed close. You don't have to prove anything anymore. I'm not, he said. I'm helping. They stepped out of the medical bay together. The corridors looked worse now. Damage was everywhere. Burn marks, broken panels, dark stains on the floor. But there was movement. Order was returning. Human aid workers moved through the station with quiet efficiency. They shared rations freely, even though they carried limited supplies. Some aliens hesitated to accept help at first. Others did not. Luma watched as a human knelt beside a trembling alien child, offering food and water with a gentle smile. No one laughed now. At a junction near the central hall, a council envoy stood waiting, surrounded by guards. The envoy's skin was pale, its eyes sharp. You, it said, pointing at Eli. You are the one who fought. Eli nodded. One of many. The envoy studied him. Your kind was underestimated. Yes, Eli agreed. We know. That misjudgment endangered the station, the envoy continued. Your response prevented total collapse. Luma held her breath. The council will issue a statement, the envoy said slowly. Human classification will be revised. A murmur spread through the hall. And, Eli asked, and the envoy added, your species will be monitored closely. Eli met its gaze. We already are. The envoy said nothing more and turned away. Luma exhaled shakily. That's it. For now, Eli said. They moved toward the observation windows again. The stars outside were partly hidden by human ships, massive and still. I never thought I'd feel safe seeing warships, Luma admitted. They're not here for war, Eli said. They're here so no one else starts one. She nodded slowly. Silence settled between them, not uncomfortable this time. I need to say something, Luma said at last. He looked at her. I laughed at you, she said. Not just because of hunger, because I believed what I was taught, that humans break easily. That you're loud and fragile and desperate. And now, he asked. Now I think you're dangerous, she said honestly. He raised an eyebrow. In a good way, she added quickly. Because you don't give up, even when you should. He smiled faintly. That's not bravery. That's survival. The station speakers came on again, calmer this time. Attention, the voice said. Emergency conditions are stabilizing. Limited food distribution will resume shortly. A wave of relief passed through the hall. Luma laughed softly, this time without mockery. Your stomach won't have to growl anymore. Give it time, Eli said. It likes to remind me. She looked at him, really looked at him, and felt something change inside her. Not attraction, not fear, respect. Far above the station, data streams raced across the galaxy. Reports, recordings, medical scans. Governments watched footage of a hungry human standing against monsters and chaos. Old assumptions cracked. New questions formed. And somewhere far from the station, others began to prepare. Because the galaxy had just learned something important. Humans were not weak, and next time they might not be alone. The station slowly returned to life. Lights stabilized across the corridors. Power flowed again, weak but steady. The alarms finally fell silent, leaving behind a strange quiet that felt heavier than the noise had ever been. Survivors moved carefully now, stepping around damage, helping the injured, speaking in low voices as if afraid to wake something dangerous. Food distribution resumed in controlled areas. Lines formed again, but this time there was no laughter, no pushing. Hunger had humbled everyone. Eli sat near the observation window on a simple bench, a food tray resting in his hands. He ate slowly. His body still hurt. Every movement reminded him of the fights, the wounds, the exhaustion. But the food helped. Warmth returned to his fingers. His thoughts became clearer. Luma stood a short distance away, watching him without realizing it. She remembered the first time she had seen him in that same hall, the growling stomach, her laughter, the ease with which she had judged him. Now she felt the weight of that memory more than hunger. She walked over and sat beside him. "You're really eating," she said quietly. He nodded. "That's usually how it works." She smiled faintly, then grew serious again. "I heard the council issued a station-wide message." He glanced at her. "What kind of message?" "That humans are to be treated as equals," she said. "Not low risk, not support species, equals." Eli paused, then took another bite. "That's new. They also said the incident will be shared across all major networks." He looked out at the stars. "That's less new." Silence stretched between them. Around them, other travelers watched openly now. Some whispered, others stared without shame. A few nodded at Eli with quiet respect as they passed. Luma noticed it all. "You're a symbol now," she said. "I didn't ask to be." "I know," she replied. "That's why it matters." A group of humans passed nearby, aid workers wearing simple uniforms. One of them glanced at Eli and gave a small nod. Eli returned it. "You know them?" Luma asked. "No," Eli said, "but they know what it's like." "What's it like?" she asked. He thought for a moment. "Being underestimated, being pushed until there's no space left, and then finding out how far you can really go." She lowered her eyes. "I helped push." "Yes," he said gently. "You did." She looked up, surprised by the lack of anger in his voice. "Why aren't you angry?" she asked. He shrugged. "Because anger takes energy, and I was already short on that." She let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Across the station, council officials held emergency meetings. Human representatives stood among them, calm, unreadable. Data screens showed medical charts, combat footage, survival metrics. The numbers spoke clearly. Humans functioned under conditions that broke others. Pain did not stop them. Fear sharpened them. Hunger drove them forward instead of pulling them down. Old classifications collapsed under the weight of evidence. Some council members were afraid, others were impressed, a few were both. Back at the observation window, Luma gathered her courage. "I'm sorry," she said. He turned to her. "Not just for laughing," she continued, "for believing it was true, for never questioning it." Eli studied her face. "Most people don't question what keeps them comfortable." "That doesn't make it right." "No," he agreed, "but it makes it human." She blinked at that. "You say that like it applies to everyone," he smiled. "It does." A chime echoed through the station. Another announcement followed. "All remaining hostiles have been neutralized. Station integrity is secured. External fleets will remain on standby." A ripple of relief passed through the hall. Luma leaned back against the bench. "So this is over." "For now," Eli said. She laughed softly. "You humans really love that phrase. It's accurate." They watched ships drift outside the window. Human vessels, alien freighters, patrol craft. Different shapes, different designs, all sharing the same space. "I used to think the galaxy was already understood," Luma said. "Mapped, classified, explained. And now?" "Now I think we were wrong," she said, "about a lot of things." Eli finished his meal and set the tray aside. He flexed his fingers slowly. "You know," he said, "there's something people forget about hunger." "What's that?" "It teaches patience," he replied. "It teaches planning. It teaches you what matters," she nodded. "And what matters?" "Survival," he said. "And who survives with you?" Her gaze softened. Nearby, a young alien child approached hesitantly, holding a small ration pack. The child looked at Eli with wide eyes. "Are you the human?" the child asked. Eli smiled. "I am a human." The child held out the pack. "For you, my mother says you helped everyone." Eli hesitated, then accepted it. "Thank you." The child ran back to its family, smiling. Luma felt something tighten in her chest. "They're going to tell stories about you," she said. "They already are," Eli replied, "and those stories will spread." "Yes." She looked at him carefully. "Does that worry you?" "It used to," he admitted. "Now I think it's necessary." Across the station, data streams shot outward faster than light. News networks replayed footage of the creature's fall. Analysts paused frames, zoomed in on the human figure, bruised and starving but unbroken. Commentators argued. Some warned of danger. Others spoke of alliance. On distant worlds, leaders watched in silence. On others, people whispered a single thought. If hunger could not stop them, what could? Back at the station, council envoys approached Eli one last time. "The council wishes to formally acknowledge your actions," one said stiffly. "Compensation will be provided." Eli stood with effort. "I didn't do it for that." "We know," the envoy said. "That is part of the concern." Eli met its gaze. "Get used to it." The envoy left without another word. Luma laughed quietly. "You really don't help their nerves." "Not my job," he said. The station slowly filled with movement again. Repairs continued. Ships prepared to depart. Life resumed, but not as it had been before. Luma stood up. "I'm transferring routes," she said suddenly. "Oh?" Eli asked. "Yes," she said. "I was headed somewhere easy, somewhere safe. And now I want to see what else we got wrong," he smiled. "Careful, that's how trouble starts," she smiled back. "I think I can handle it." They walked together toward the departure gates. As they passed through the hall, no one laughed at the human with the once growling stomach. They stepped aside. They watched. They remembered. Far beyond the station, the galaxy shifted in small but important ways. Military doctrines were rewritten. Survival manuals updated. Cultural briefings amended with a single warning. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not mistake hunger for defeat. And never laugh at a human who is still standing. Because when pushed, when starved, when cornered by the cold dark of space, humans did not fade. They endured, they adapted, and they made sure the galaxy remembered why. She laughed at his growling stomach, but this human left the alien girl stunned. HFY Story.